All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this month's Spotlight, where we're going to jump in and have a look at the team profile and the Platinum Rule. Really excited about this one. Today with me, I've got Heidi and Pete, both master trainers from HPT School. Hey, guys. Let's kick off. We'll get into it. But before we do, let's do a barometer. I'm really excited about today's topic personally. Heidi, how about yourself?
I'm really focused. Really focused.
Pete?
Yeah, I'm pumped. Let's go.
Yeah, awesome. All right, hey, so let's zone in. Of course, we know flourishing schools, they're built on strong support systems. And the one we're going to zoom in on today is the Platinum Rule. And there's a lot of cool stuff that flourishing schools do in this space as we zone in and have a bit of a look at it. But before we get into the toolkit, Pete, would you be able to just give us a bit of a refresher? What's this whole Platinum Rule all about?
Thank you. Our Platinum Rule. Well, we start with the golden rule of communication, which is do unto others as they would have it done unto you. And that's about communicating the way you want back at you. If you want kindness, you be kind your way. The Platinum Rule, whole different concept. Do unto others as they would want it done unto them. So kindness, doesn't matter what your view of kindness is, you need to give them what their view of kindness is. As you've got on the screen now, we need to therefore understand the 4 possible types of kindness, or 4 different styles of communication. And I understand how to match it up with other people. That's what we're aiming for in following the Platinum Rule. Al.
Right. Thank you, Pete. Hey, and of course, there's a couple of different ways we can do this. Heidi, I know you're a pro in this space. What do we do? How do we work this stuff out in our teams?
Yeah, I love this. There's an awesome card game that we can play, and people love fighting about who's going to pick what card. It's always a great activity with teams to do. And if we don't have enough time for that, there's also a checklist that we can have a look through and just see which of those characteristics that most resonate with us. Some really easy ways to understand a little bit more about ourselves and understand our own profile.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. I've got to say, my personal fave is the card game. Probably one of the most fun things that we get to do, especially in big staff groups. But of course, it doesn't end there, because this idea of the Platinum Rule and matching, personality-wise, we're not one-trick ponies. So Heidi, tell us, what's this 2 dots thing all about, or this idea of our top 2?
Yeah, so my top 2, I'm red and green, and for those people who don't know about the colours, red means that I am all about people, relationships, and green is real focus on detail. So that's my top 2.
Yeah, great. Pete, how about yourself? I can see there you're a little bit different than Heidi.
Yeah. Well, there's only 4 to choose from, and I'm the opposite of Heidi. So I'm yellow, which refers to being big picture thinker, lots going on up there, and blue, which refers to action. And so, I like to just sit there and think up a new idea and then run off and try and build a prototype before I've thought it through properly or talk to anyone about it. And so, interesting dynamics for Heidi and I working together. It's we both got to put in a bit of effort from time to time to make sure we're really connecting properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, so this idea of the Platinum matching rule, if we take it a little bit further, of course, we've learned about, knowing ourselves and figuring out what our top 2 are, and then having an ear to the ground so that we can work out what those people around us are, so that then we can do the matching thing. But there's a couple of tools in the toolkit that can actually help us with that, so it can be a little bit easier. The one we really want to zoom in on today is this idea of our team talent map, because being in a high-performing team, being in a flourishing school, should be many things, but one thing it shouldn't be is it shouldn't be a memory test. And I love the team profile, because essentially what it allows us to do is to capture everyone in our team, allows us to capture their top 2 so that we don't have to carry it around in the back of our head. And if we need to go have a conversation with somebody, we can literally just look up, well, hey, what's their top 2? And so how do I need to deliver whatever I'm going to deliver to them in a way that's going to work for them? Of course, there's also a really, really cool way that, that's new to figuring this stuff out. Heidi, what's the top 2 dots all about?
Yeah, so this is a really great way for teachers to understand and for students to understand each other better. And it really allows us to differentiate our communication preferences for our kids. So great way in secondary schools is to get the kids to put their top 2 colours, the sticky dots on their laptop. Yep. In a primary school, kids don't have their own laptops often, so just putting them on a card on their desk so that teachers, like we say, can differentiate their communication based on what the preferences are for kids.
Yeah, love it, love it. It's so low effort and so kind of obvious
Yeah.
once you start using it, but so powerful at the same time. Thanks, Heidi. Alrighty, hey, let's keep ourselves going, and of course, in our toolkit, we can look at this in a couple of different ways. We've got our team profile, of course, but we can also look at this as our whole school or whole organisation profile, and we can also not only do the top 2 dots with our kids in class, but we can create a class profile. Again, it just keeps it all nice and organised, so we can look up what our top 2 communication styles are for each and every one of our students. But let's zoom out now. We're going to get out of our toolkit and we want to move over now and take it from, the theory side and get really, really practical and have a bit of a look at a showcase. And Pete, today we're going to hotspot over and do a bit of a shout out to Kinkora State School, who've done some really, really great stuff in this space. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, Kinkora State School in Gladstone, Australia. What a wonderful school. They take this Flourishing Schools work so seriously and do it so deeply. And you'll see now, we're going to put a shot up there of their high performance teams, teaching teams, data wall. And so we talk about visible learning, but we also talk about visible strategy. And so they make the strategies, the ways of working clear and documented. So new teachers coming in, anyone, anywhere knows exactly what to expect. And that reduces cognitive load. We put a little red rectangle around those team profiles. So important. In our next shot, you'll be able to see in more detail the general idea in practice of how different teams, year 3, year 6, year 4, those teaching teams, how can they make sure they're matching communication? How can they just have a quick glance and go, oh, of course, I'm yellow, Heidi's green. Oh, I just need to change up. I'll think better about how I can support her and how I want to get my message across. Again, if you're ever in Gladstone, Queensland, Australia, make sure you see Jorgen and the team and get a tour of the school. It is an amazing place. Over to you, Al.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Pete. And I think the thing I love about the work that these guys have done is that it's not just been, like a one and done, a set and forget. They've been really, really rigorous in kind of revisiting this work each and every kind of 6-month cycle. So when they get new people in the team, they kind of add them there so that everyone kind of just has that ability to go up and look at who's who in the team, which is really, really great. So again, big shout out there to Kinkora State School and all the awesome work that they are doing. Alrighty, so next up we've got Going Deeper. We're talking about Platinum Rule. Pete, what can we do here?
Yeah, this is a great one to go deeper on. And I want to focus here for a moment on trauma-informed approaches and think about our students who might be carrying trauma, because matching to their personality is so important. We have our underlying personalities, but when we have trauma, those difficult aspects, they're exaggerated, and we have very little tolerance if we don't get it right. So those 2 sticky dots, teachers really being on point with praise and feedback, matching, following the Platinum Rule. I can't stress how important that is for everyone, but especially in a trauma-informed context.
Heidi, what would you say, I guess, as an experienced educator, how that plays out in your experience?
Absolutely spot on. And, there's so many times that we've had, you'll have a heightened student and on reflection, I think if I had have known more about communication preferences when managing kids who have experienced trauma, how much more successful that could have been. So I think it's an absolute incredible piece of information for all school leaders.
Great, thank you. We're going to get into the last little bit now and look at our wall of wisdom. We've had the fortune of working with a lot of great leaders over our time. And Pete, who are we going to hear from today?
Look, we've got a little quote from Scott Cage, a wonderful principal, since retired, but he did some really transformative work with his leadership team at Marani State High School. So that's just out of Mackay, again, Queensland, Australia. And you see the quote there. And what I really love about this quote is the Platinum Rule, what we're talking about here, getting to know each other, how important that is. We've been talking about teachers and students, but at the heart of it, it's about that leadership team first and foremost, going first in this work. And Scott's highlighting there just how important that is. So that we reduce cognitive load and we increase people's capacity. We fill up their cup with energy. And when we do that, we enable all the insights, all of the wisdom that's so urgently needed when we've got so many challenges in schools. Again, really encourage everybody, if they haven't downloaded volume 1 and 2 of Leadership Shares, grab those off our website, read Scott's interview in detail, and there's a whole bunch of gems from a whole bunch of great principles in there.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pete. And the thing I love, I guess, about Scott's quote and kind of all the work that they've been doing there is it really highlights that idea of servant leadership. Because, of course, if we want to support our staff as much as we can, we'll always be following that platinum rule to give them the communication in the way that works best for them. So, again, big thank you to Scott and all of the team over there. All right. So, we're going to start to bring that in from there. We've been today looking at the platinum rule. Pete, any kind of final thoughts or closing words of wisdom to get us out of here?
Yeah, look, I reckon it's the 80-20 rule as a final thought. And that is when you have tricky things go on with students, parents and staff, if it's not working properly, 80% of the time it will be because you didn't match. And so your default, whenever things get tricky with students, with parents, with staff, your default is always back to those sticky dots. Hang on, what am I hearing? And am I matching? And whilst it's not always the case, more often than not, success lies in following the platinum rule.
All right. Thanks very much. That was a great one. See you later, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye.